Hello Lorenzo Knights, it is indeed me, Lorenzo, and today you're watching KSP Contracting, episode 26, where we shall probably go to Duna. Yeah, we're 3 days out from the final course correction, and as you remember from last episode, which was on Monday, so I'm a little bit late with this one, life is still very chaotic for me at the moment. We stranded 2 Kerbals with a buttload of science on the way home from Moho. Since I have received several rescue craft, let's review them here. I've not looked at them before, because today we will focus on Duna and not this rescue, but it doesn't hurt to have a look. This is a heavily boosted rocket with nuclear stuff, a hitchhiker canister, and a grabber. So, as Grey Dragon, I forgot your actual name, I'm sorry, wrote in the email, this way we can grab the Moho thing, but if it comes to something else, we can also grab an asteroid with it. Good thinking. However, the Moho thing doesn't need grabbing. The Kerbals can just EVA over with all their science. Still, good thinking nonetheless. So this is the first contender. The second contender for the rescue contract, let's have a look, is Kraken RC. Would it be that? I think it's the JRA one. Then this one was not from Grey Dragon, this one was from Nigel then, if I remember correctly. Put your name in the title, because then I can remember from here. Anyway, Nigel and Grey Dragon both submitted these craft, and I think that this one is the other one. But I can't launch that, so I can't look at it either. Right, what else we have is the Griswolf Dragonfly. I don't think I looked at that yet. This is in complement with Nathan's Scorpion, and this is also a nicely boosted animal resembling thing. Well, this certainly looks like an interesting craft. However, it does only seat 1 Kerbal, so this is not going to be used for the rescue. We shall, for the rescue, instead use the only craft named Rescue. And we shall put that into space now and then move to the Duna endeavor. So let's go ahead and go to the launch pad and do that. And I will show you a very abbreviated version, because it's not the focus of the episode at all. But at least we'll have something in space. And if everything around Duna goes really smoothly, we might send it off to the Moho as well, or we can spend a separate episode doing that. Right, launch though should be fairly straightforward, going straight up until either 10 kilometers or the boosters run out, at which point they will be separated, which happens in a second or two, like right now. And while we boost up on the remaining 3 engines, let me share with you some happy news and some sad news. The happy news is that I found employment in Amsterdam. I can start the 23rd of June, and my savings should be ample to last me until that time. Now all I have to do is find a place to live there, get internet sorted and everything, but I definitely have something to do. The sad news has nothing to do with me. It's the dogfighting module of Star Citizen, otherwise known as Arena Commander, has been perhaps predictably delayed until, well, further notice. It was supposed to go live today, but it didn't because of some showstopper bugs, as they said at Cloud Imperium Games. And, well, they didn't give an estimate, but personally I'll estimate it will happen over or after the weekend. And that's very optimistic, of course, because so far things have not been going that quickly for the development of that particular game. It's for the best, I do think. They have a lot of money, they can last a long time, and hopefully they will succeed in actually making something that is veritably awesome. Now, right, we are slowly starting to graze space, or more accurate would be we're stopping to graze. We're no longer grazing the atmosphere. Almost, though. I don't know what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we'll fast forward to the end phase of this launch. And here we are, high over the planet, finalizing the orbit, and we do indeed have an orbit. Now I was looking at the craft. These tanks are almost dry. That means this booster can be thrown away soon. And then here we have a Poodle engine, and this somewhat puzzles me, because we also have 2 nuclear engines which are far more efficient. And the Poodle is by no means a light engine. It's, if I recall, it's 2.5 tons. I think it was probably put here to, I don't know, help with orbit. but the first booster, well, the penultimate booster was fine for that. So I don't really get that, but maybe a use for that will become apparent soon. Anyway, this is now in orbit. We shall attend to that later. And now we will move to the Duna intercept thing. Let's have a look at the course correction we need to make that intercept Duna. Wow, in this contraption it's still a splendid thing of beauty. Right. So, what do we have here? I keep forgetting we have an encounter that's at 7,000 kilometers, and I'm going to do my darndest to make that a lot lower. And we shall do so by first fast forwarding to the maneuver node I think I put it on an arbitrary point, but we might as well use it. It's 3 days from now, so that's 2, 1.5, 1, 3 more hours, and now we're about at that maneuver node. So let us first and foremost remove the maneuver node so that we can have a direct readout of the periapsis, and now I'm going to try and use monopropellant to tweak that. And I'm just going to use the different directions I have on the RCS thrusters, and yeah, none of that is working. So, oh wait, I still also have forwards and backwards. Yeah, this makes no difference at all. I might need to use the actual thrusters. For that we shall again use a maneuver node. This is an area where the system may not be as well worked out as it could be, because it's really hard to see what your maneuver does and how to approach a target. Anyway, I will fiddle with this and show you what I came up with. I think that's the best way. Right, and this is what I came up with. A 19.7 meter per second maneuver that will put us within 300 kilometers. That should be close enough to allow any fine tuning. So now we just have to find which direction it turned out. I used all the 3 axes, so it's going to be somewhere in the middle of the nav ball, and I shall rotate the ship to find that. And to do so I have 5 minutes, and I want to make this burn very, very accurately. So I'm going to do it really, really slowly. Ah, there is the marker. That is of course nice. And some of you, namely Coryzilla Gamer and Nigel, have already found your way to my Twitch channel live stream thing and have very kindly helped me to set that up so that the sound and video quality are up to par, and that is now something that I try and do occasionally as well, live streaming games. I did The Witcher 2, where I died horribly on one of the bosses of the first act, and then we went on to KSP to play some real solar system and see a rocket that didn't make it into orbit several times and then did. Fun was had, and I do like the streaming thing, so check that out for sure. The link is in the description of this video and all of the videos coming after this one for the remainder of all time. And if you do the Twitch thing, and I can recommend that you do, follow me and then you will get notified when I'm live, and we can all share some fun playing games together. And I mean that in a completely non-sexual way. Honest. So, back to this game here. Let's try this maneuver and fine-tune our approach to Duna. And can I see from here if that's going to encounter Duna at the right side? I really cannot really, but it seems to be okay. At least that's something I can tweak from the boundary of the sphere of influence if need be. Right, so 19.6 meters per second, let's do it. Only very, very slowly. And this is a massively heavy ship. And we still have lots and lots of fuel remaining, but we are working with relatively inefficient thrusters, so that might all be required, that fuel. Right, 3 meters per second to go. I'm going to stop here and have a look at my projected course, and now I'm going to engage that again. 200, 100, 80. This seems to be decent. Well, it's wobbling because the ship is wobbling, but that appears to be a very good intercept that's even at aero braking altitude already. I have huge doubts if this ship is going to survive aero braking. I'm going to make the pass relatively high for Duna standards anyway. I'm thinking about 30 kilometers. Maybe I'm even going to leave that at 50, because I just cannot imagine this being any form of aerodynamically stable. We might fall. We don't have deadly re-entry to worry about, but we might fall apart. We might become uncontrollable. We might enter. A host of horrible things can happen. Alright, that's the alarm clock doing its thing. And now we shall time warp until the sphere of influence boundary of Duna, and I will show you then. And here we are on the boundary of the sphere of influence of Duna, and we are indeed coming in around the wrong way. Now I can tell because we will get there in a timely fashion, and we will meet Ike here, which will lead me to believe that Ike is in fact moving this way and not that way. So we will need to move our periapsis to the other side of the planet. Fortunately, it already is low, so we should be able to do that relatively easily. No, and maneuver nodes are always quite a pain like this, because I don't know where that is. Right, let's see if I can put one here. And tweak that intercept to the other side of the planet. Yes, we can in fact do that. So this is the direction. This maneuver node does not actually allow us to do that, because for some reason that is too complex. But we have the direction, we have the marker, and it will be in the neighborhood of 90 meters per second. So not great, we're basically just losing that. We could have tweaked that from interplanetary space, but I haven't a clue how to correctly predict that, so I cannot. Fortunately, 90 meters per second probably won't be mission breaking, but well, you never know for sure with these things. Right, we are aligned to the 90-degree heading. I'm going to toggle on the engines whilst removing this maneuver node. And now we should see this periapsis decreasing. Oh, it also turned out to be 800 kilometers and not 100. Maybe that's some altogether different wonkiness. Anyway, here we go. Now this is a litho-braking trajectory, and we are gonna go for 35 kilometers of altitude. Oh. So that's now 40. I'm just gently braking a little bit with the RCS. I had set Ike as a target to see the node markers. This is decently equatorial. From this we can intercept Ike should we desire it. So I'm going to put a capture maneuver node at the periapsis so we can burn whilst braking in the atmosphere. And in that fashion, oh look, we can immediately meet up with Ike. Let's try and do that. Yeah, that seems like a good idea. Then we can do Ike first. No, Ike is easy to meet up with anyway. We're going to do Duna first. That's the most interesting one. That's 1.6 kilometers per second. I'm going to align the vessel here, so we don't need to do that in or near the atmosphere. And then I shall, look, there they are. Duna and Ike perfectly lined up with the sun. And then I shall fast forward to the point where we actually hit atmosphere, and well, where the fun can commence, really. I do hope that these things work out. Turning the ship is so far not really working out. I'm resigned to using a little bit more RCS, but look at that. This center column is swinging like a pendulum, and that is... oh, it's the SAS that's hurting the steering, because that's trying to keep everything stable where it really can't be stable. This is obviously not quite a safe design, but so far everything is working out. Is it though? Did something just break off? No, it did not. Right. Oh! Oh shit, maybe I should not have time warped. Let's unwarp that and see what happens. Oh! Well, that is definitely glitchy. I don't think anything actually broke off though, so we gotta obey with that. Oh, this is really scary. What if I do it without RCS? Or without SAS on? Well, it seems to work sort of fine now. Don't know what that was about. That was proper scary. Anyway, here we go. Approaching Duna. What is our final altitude going to be? 36 kilometers. I think that ought to be safe, but just to be safe, I am going to retract the solar panels. I think that's a good idea regardless. So, coming down off the 1000 times time acceleration, let's... yeah, this is going to be a bit of effort. And I will show you the first ones and the last couple of retracting solar panels. Oh, jolly, there's a few more on this side. Well, if one or two remain extended, of course, that's not a big deal breaker, but it is sloppy to lose solar panels due to predictable circumstances. All things considered, though, I think we're good. And I'm almost forgetting to get a crew report out of these guys, and I think maybe I can't because they're not in a command module, but they can surely get a EVA report. Mercas can go ahead and get that EVA report from Martian space. Hi over Duna, keep that data and get back on board, if that's allowed. I don't even think we can transmit from here, so maybe keeping them in the lab wasn't the smartest, but then again, one of them soon enough will be in the Duna lander, so we will sort that when we come to it. Speaking of the Duna lander, that has 2 goo canisters. The Ike lander has also goo canisters, but Ike also has space. I don't think we have goo canisters for Martian space. We have 2, for the one for the surface and one for one of the spaces. No, we don't. We didn't bring any science for the actual... oh wait, we have one here. No, we didn't bring any science for the actual space bits of the mission. Ah, well, that's a pity. Let's retract these panels also. And the crew report, of course, that will be done once... well, I suppose I could put Marcus in the lander already and get the crew report from that guy. Oh, I can review the... I can transmit it from here anyway, right, so that's starting to be transmitted. We shall put Marcus in the lander, so that even if things go horribly wrong here, at least we could maybe separate off the lander and save just Marcus. Let's see, where was that command pod? All the way over here. Hidden away. Grab that and board. Right, and now we can ask him for a crew report. Great, transmitting that. And that means we can also get crew reports from the upper atmosphere if all goes well. And of course we are guaranteed some science, that's also always a good thing. Right, so here's the moment of truth. Scary stuff happening as we are about to enter the Duna atmosphere. And I will be careful not to start the braking acceleration, the braking thrust too soon, because that could mean that we are lowering our periapsis and actually entering, and that's of course not the point. What is the point is to do the reports from near Duna space. And let's get who's in here, the hatch. I wanted to get an EVA report from here as well. Jebediah, it's Jebediah himself! Of course he goes outside just before atmospheric entry. He goes back inside and we can transmit that. Wonderful. Now it's just a matter of waiting until we hit that 40-35 kilometer altitude. And I'm not sure, well, it does count as atmosphere. So here we go. Going to fire up the engines. And hopefully we can slow down by enough without causing undue entry problems. Right, maybe we can get a crew report from flying at Duna. No, this still counts as space near Duna. And this in fact also happens to be our periapsis. So yeah, 36 kilometers was definitely maybe a little bit too high, but then again I'd better be safe than sorry with this by a large margin. And yeah. So we're not going to get a lot of braking out of the atmosphere, I dare say less than a meter per second. but we are doing our burn close to Duna, and that does save us some delta V through the Oberth effect, so that we don't have to do it from all the way out there. Right, this thing accelerates more slowly than I remember it to. We've only slowed down by 300 meters per second. That is not enough yet, but fortunately we are not careening off into space yet. We have some fuel remaining. Everything should go well. And when we go back home, we can ditch the laboratory. No, we can't ditch the laboratory because that's where our Kerbals live. But we can ditch the landers, and that should make everything that much lighter. And of course, we don't need a entry burn for Kerbin. We can just slam into the atmosphere there. Right, this is going quite horribly. Quite horribly. One thing that is fortunate is that we will probably put our lander on an immediate landing trajectory and then boost up with the rest of the module. Because if we proceed like this, we shall not get an orbit, we shall get an impact trajectory. Holy moly. This is taking a lot more time than I anticipated it to. It must have been a while since I last flew this, and in fact it is. Well, this burn will take several minutes more. I will reconvene with you when it's done or about to. Right, we are there, and in fact I even overshot the burn a little bit. Or actually this is more or less perfect. It does mean that our lander will be on a night landing, but that can't really be helped from here. Well, it could. Yeah, it could. I can just push out the apoapsis just a little bit, so I'll do that. I am confident in stating that this lander, this whole vehicle, probably will not have the delta V to ever make it back to Kerbin. We burned a lot of fuel just doing this maneuver, and we would need more to get back to Kerbin. We shall see, however, after the various missions happen, how bad of a problem that is, and perhaps we will need another rescue shuttle. For now though, first a time warp to the apoapsis of this, well, rather non-orbit. Let's see what this looks like. This impact point, yeah, this will always be in the darkness. Let's see. Let's prepare for lander separation, shall we? Do a systems check. We have fuel in the lander. We have science experiments on the lander. We have RCS in the lander. We have crew in the lander. Oh, we have a thermometer here as well. Well, that can't be done here. We have barometric sensors. We have a guy in the lander. Yes. I think that's all we need. It is wobbling a bit. That could be cause of concern. Anyway, we are going to undock this. No, not control from the docking port. Undock. Yes. Right. Here we have our lander. And we are going to RCS away from the mothership. This is Marcus Kerman at the helm for the first time in, I think it was about 2 years. We are controlling our own spaceship. Let's find the engines. They are over here. Let's activate them. Activate them. All the parachutes are in the next stage. And what we need to do now is first and foremost move away from the ship a little bit more. So that should do that. Now we're going to switch back to the mothership. That, remember, still needs to attain orbit. So that's the first thing we're going to take care of. We don't want to land on Duna and then have the mothership crash down right beside us. That would be a shame. I think this does have enough for a transfer to Ike. And then from there, maybe it should be picked up by someone. Right. Let's establish orbit here. 50 kilometers should do it for this thing. Okay, that means we can switch back to the lander. And now this is where the fun starts. I kind of want to land on the daylit side. Do we have lights on this? We do have lights on this, so that makes it a little bit less of a problem to not do so. But it shouldn't be a lot of delta V from here, and that means we can make a little bit shallower arrow braking trajectory also, which is always good. So we are going to have our periapses there at 8. Let's go for 10 kilometers, and I think that means we will screech into the light side and land over there. We shall see that soon though, because there's nothing else holding us back. We are going to do it now, and we are committed to a landing. Let's see, passing through the night. Marcus Kerman is possibly about to undertake possibly the most dangerous mission a Kerbal has ever done before, and that is to land a spacecraft on an alien planet. Although the Moho landing was pretty perilous as well, but mostly for fuel reasons. This one is perilous because it has such a tricky atmosphere. Although most of the difficulty I had with Duna were in the real solar system, where I dare say it's quite a bit trickier still. Anyway, we shall see how this gets on. It's best not to underestimate any landing. But I think our trajectory with the 10 kilometer periapsis, we have 2 parachutes. Are these drogue chutes? No, they're regular parachutes. What are the other parachutes like? Also regular parachutes. Altitude 2 kilometers, altitude 5. They are set to release to deploy as quickly as possible. Going to do the landing gear as well, just to be sure. Whoa, that also does the stairs and everything. Right. Well, we can. This is just landing configuration, sure. And we can do science on the way down. Let's try that. Where were those sensors? We had sensors, I think. Here. Log the temperature. Keep that. Log the pressure data. Well, that can't be done yet. Yeah, we can. As soon as the game recognizes that we are actually in the atmosphere, we can do the atmospheric scan. And I'm debating whether to send this home or to take this home. Well, we can send one home anyway and then keep one. We can do that for everything. We do have the laboratory on the spaceship as well, but because we're intending for the guys to go home, there's no real reason to do the processing and then the sending, because they will be going home anyway. I am wondering why this atmosphere doesn't do more. We're at 13 kilometers, for crying out loud. Are we even slowing down? Oh, I don't have Ferrum Aerospace. Obviously I can't see what's going on. This is going to be observed here from in space near Duna. This is still in space. This is not still in space. Okay. It's time to deploy the parachutes. Oh dear, did that not deploy them? That deployed them. Okay, we're not going to pop the engines until they actually do so. What is our orbit doing? Well, we are braking. It's just not very visual, that's all. So this is working. We are at 900 meters per second over the surface. Here go the first set of parachutes. I think that means we should be able to do the temperature from here. Flying at Duna, definitely transmit that home, please. Pressure data, transmit that home as well. Here's more parachutes, lots of G-forces, but it does appear to work. Everything is holding steady. The guys are not dying from G-force overload. Keep this data for more parachutes going down. This seems to be going really well. Keep that data, and then we can collect it inside the capsule and do the other set of experiments while we're on the ground. Mystery goo from the air. Was that already transmitted? No, this just has a very low transmit value. We're going to keep that. And we're going to save the materials bay for when we're actually landed. Let's not get overconfident in that regard. It is still the night side. We careened a lot slower through the atmosphere than I was expecting it to. I was expecting to, well, make it over the morning boundary. But we do have lights. That means we can see where we will set down. These parachutes are doing a hell of a job. We're going at 33 meters per second. That's awesome for a Duna lander. That means that we probably, well, I don't want to land at 30 meters per second, but the engines should be well capable of, well, reducing that to a manageable amount. I wonder, can I go into the internal vehicle thing and look at the altimeter? Yeah, I can. Can I also look out the window? Can as well, but that doesn't really help. We are at less than a kilometer, so more than half a kilometer. So it's somewhere between 5 and 5.5 kilometers that's ground level here. Yeah, that doesn't really help that much. I can do a crew report from flying at Duna, let's do that. I can't transmit it though because there's no power. Oh, there is power, just not in the capsule. Okay, power. Send that home. That's an easy 25 science. I'm not going to pop Marcus outside from here, although that could work. He could probably slow his landing by enough with just his jetpack, and I think the capsule has a good chance of surviving a 17 meter per second impact, but that's just a bit too risky for my tastes. Let's try the internal view again with the radar thing. Is it still half a kilometer? Yeah, I think. Oh yeah, this is now exactly half a kilometer. Not the map view, I want this. So let's try that again with a better reading. That is now 450 meters. That means I completely misread it the first time around. That means we're at 300 meters when we touch down on the ground, approximately. With that knowledge, I'm going to crank up the time warp just a bit, and this should bring us closer to the surface. Hope it's not too much of an incline. Now the risk with using the thrusters to slow down is that if we ever reach 0.0 meters per second, the parachutes vanish, because that's the check it uses to see if you're landed or not. But doesn't matter because we made it. Woohoo! Celebration time and the drum roll, and now it's sciencing time. Doing a surface, keeping that to take home. Observe the materials bay. Keeping that to take home, 200 datas. And now we have to put Marcus outside so that he... oh shit, he has to go over here to collect these readings so that we may do new ones. So he's going to go on a reading collection trip. So he has some readings to collect. Fortunately, Rule covered this lander in lots and lots of ladders. So that's very, very easy. So well done, Rule. That's a really nice design, which minimizes Kerbal finickiness. And that's a word I just invented. So that's the second planet we set foot on, and even though our Mohonian explorers are still lost, they're not dead. We still have a 0 casualty rate. EVA report from here, please. And a surface sample. And a flag. This is Merca's Red Light District. District, woohoo! And I think I also need an EVA report from from flying at Duna, and we can get that. We can get that after we collect this data. Take the data, take the data, and take the data. That's so much data in this little capsule. Wonderful. And then we're going to do the same thing as we did previously. If we have the power for it, I'm going to transmit the soil sample and take a second one. I'm going to not forget to do that. So we need more readings from this. Duna surface. This is a lot of science. This is a lot of science. That's good. Keep data. We can, in the meantime, also rocket away the experiments package. I'm going to retract the ladder for fear that otherwise it's going to flip the craft. I'm going to engage stability and RCS for doing that, and then rocket it away. Bye. Whoa, that's landing perilously close. Right on. Okay. We have the electricity for a data transmission. We are going to Transmit the EVA report, not the material study, not the goo, not the goo, not the scan, not the scan, not the scan. We are going to transmit the surface sample, and then we're going to get a second one. And in order to not forget, we're going to do that right away. I hope that didn't mess up the transmit, did it? Keep. I hope it didn't. I think I left the capsule before that happened, and I'm not sure if that messes up the transmit, but I hope not. Right, second surface sample. No, I think it did, because it's still there. So the sample is gone. I'm not sure if it ate the electricity, but the transmission value is still intact. So just to be sure, I'm going to do that again. Surface sample, transmit that home. And I hope we have the power to do so now. Yeah, we do. Oh, we don't. Shit. Well, we got a bit of it. The lights are out. And that means we got to do the rest of it in the dark. Take the surface sample. And, oh, it's neat. It still leaves a little bit, so it's fair, but not really. And we're just going to take it back. That extra efficiency amounts to, like, I don't know, maybe 5 science. And that's not worth sticking around until dawn. So we do definitely want to collect this. And this. Those don't have anything. Oh, and I want the EVA report from flying. Got it. That's lots and lots of science. It's more than Moho. I think that's unreasonable because Moho is a lot more difficult than Duna, to get to at any rate. Right, that's everything we came to do. So now we just have to get back into orbit, and for that we can, because the angle here is good, we can just basically point straight at our mothership. We shall do that, and then I'm going to round off the episode. In the next episode we can see how we get on at and around Ike. So 1, 2, 3, launch. And yes, I know that should be the other way around. A 3, 2, 1 countdown is more traditional, but today we have 1, 2, 3. So I should go straight up for a little bit, but not too far, because the atmosphere is so thin. I should start getting horizontal speed before anything else. Well, not before anything else, but rather quickly. We have a apoapsis of 37, and at 46 I think that puts it in space already. I'm just going to stop the engines here, if I can find the correct button, and endeavor to set up the rendezvous from here. Or at least get into orbit. Oh, look at that, we're getting power, and some... Oh shit, is it transmitting the surface sample I saved now, or the one that's... Oh shit. I hope it's not wasting the other surface sample. That would be a big shame. Okay, transmit the EVA report as well. Material study, keep that. Keep that, keep that. Atmospheric pressure scan. Keep that. Keep that, keep that, keep that. Fortunately, it did not waste the second one. It's smart enough to not do that. And because our orbit is offset a little bit, I am going to just get into orbit and leave the rest of the rendezvousing for the next episode. Because I think this one has run on quite long enough already. It's not that I don't like talking to you guys, it's that I don't want my computer to be occupied for too long with rendering this fair video. Oh, we are still officially in the atmosphere, but not anymore. Right, a few more minutes to our new apoapsis and burn moment. Ooh, this doesn't have fuel to spare either. I wonder if I can do the rendezvous or if I have to do it with the dude. Which is possible, but harder because he doesn't get a nav ball in his suit. So, right. 200 meters per second, there we go, and then we'll at least be in orbit, and Marcus will be safe and have done one of the most dangerous things ever. Alright, And that's it, all for today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Check out the Tumblr for space news and the Twitch for live streams, and of course check back here for more videos. I'm Lorenzo, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.